to stare at that camera to start us off, and then I'll bring the attention over here. And you can stare at me the whole time. Don't worry about that guy.
Okay. Awesome. You guys ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. We are so happy to have you on this show. I have a wonderful guest today, and we are talking about something a little different in the wedding industry, and that is men for once. I know, it sounds kind of weird, but I have Kate Tobiasson with me, and she is a little unique because she decided to focus on the one thing I feel like weddings forget, and I hate to say it. I do.
Well, it's true. So I think when we think about guys, they end up being an accessory to the bride in the penguin suit. And I think that's something that I am on a mission to change.
She's on a mission. I love it. And so you're in the fashion of dressing men for a living.
Yeah. So I am a custom concierge stylist. So what that means is I come to your house, I come to your office, and we talk about what we can do with your wardrobe. We can do a closet clean out, help you integrate a few key pieces to make sure that you're always looking and feeling your best. But my favorite thing is dressing guys for their wedding.
Yeah.
And I don't think the suit for your wedding should be something that you wear just one time.
No, and you know, that's such a great point because there's so much that goes into a wedding on the woman's side. And let's be honest here, because it's so central to them. And also, I have to give credit. I've been to too many weddings. Guys roll out of bed, they go to the gym, they eat some food, you know, if they drink some beers, and they show up. Now, do I think this is the right thing? No. Am I going to do the gym thing in the beginning? Yeah, I am, but it's fine. Whatever. We won't talk about that. That being said, you know, there's so much more preparation involved for women. But I think there should be more for men. I think they should look their best. And like you said, I mean, they're not just a side piece. They are the centerpiece. It is two people in love, you know?
I agree. And I also think that this is a picture, a moment that you're going to have symbolizing your whole relationship together.
Right.
At my house, we've got a beautiful picture from our wedding still hanging up on the mantle over the fireplace. And my husband is in a rented suit. And
did that drive you crazy?
It does kind of, like, as I look at it, I twitch a little bit.
Do you want me to Photoshop it? I can, you know?
It sounds like something we need to get down with later. And when I've been to weddings where the guys are actually dressed and you can tell that they've been a part of the wedding, it just feels differently.
Yeah.
I also think there's this conception that little girls dream about getting married and they have this whole wedding planned from the time that they're little, and then it's their big day to execute. And when we think about our culture evolving, I just don't think that it's really all about the bride anymore.
No, it's not. And we've seen it both financially speaking. We've seen it, you know, and it's funny because my business partner, James, his girlfriend always asks him, fiance, always asks him, what do you want for our wedding? And I sit around, I think this is kind of odd to me. I know that sounds funny. That being said, I do want to look good. I'm not going to lie to you. So I want to look good pretty consistently. I like to look good. That's just me.
Yeah. And there are certainly guys who like roll out of bed and they kind of just want to roll out of bed on their wedding day too.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they need to roll out of bed and look like a slob.
I know. I totally agree. And I've seen it too. And my whole joke is, and I think I said this to you the first time we had a phone call, it was like the amount of time I've walked in on men, you know, as a photographer and said, hey guys, why aren't your pants on yet? Like, let's go. Your wedding is in a half an hour.
Such a big question.
Let's do it. It is. And one asked way too frequently, to be honest with you.
Yeah. My husband was recently in a wedding and the other guys didn't know how to put on their clothes. So he became the dresser because he's married to me. So he's seen me do it any number of times, but he became the dresser for it was a wedding party with 8 guys. It was kind of comical. And I think that even just having somebody with you who knows how to put on the garments and can keep everybody kind of together, I think they could have used a guy wrangler. And when we think about wedding productions, there's often an assistant who stands next to the bride and just makes sure she has what she needs during the day. And why are guys getting the short end of the stick still?
Oh, I know. But, you know, it's funny because my dad, he's a rugged guy, blue collar, you know, dressed in jeans most of my life when he owned his own business. But he works in an auto body shop. Like he owns an auto body shop. So what can you expect, right?
I think he should be in some nice custom jeans on Saturday night when he takes your mom out.
Oh,
for
he
dinner.
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday night. He dresses nice. Don't you worry.
All right.
Yeah,
Perfect.
he steps it up. But what I think is so funny is you picture him, he's rugged.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I've always known how to tie a tie.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to take care, I know how to dress properly. And my mother's been a big part of this too. But like my dad would never let me out of the house not knowing how to tie a tie. The amount of guys I walk into the room and I say, "What are you doing with those?" "Well, I don't know what to do. My dad never taught." "What? I've been trying to watch this YouTube video. Give it to me. Give it to me." I have to tie all of their ties. I got 10 guys I have to do ties for before I even get take a photo. And then I got to pin boutonnieres because no one knows how to do that. I'm like, oh my God, gentlemen, like, what are we doing?
But also, why are we still? I don't know. There's a whole. I think a journey that fashion has taken.
Yeah.
And if you don't wear a tie every day, you don't need to wear a tie on your wedding day.
Really?
So no, be in control of your fashion and your look. So if you're somebody who wakes up in the morning and throws on jeans that are ripped and a gross, greasy T-shirt because you're working at the shop, I respect that. I work at a horse farm and I've got special clothes that I just wear when I'm shoveling manure. But when I go out with my husband, I make sure that I'm wearing clothes that make me feel good.
Right.
So it's not just about the bride's aesthetic. We also want the groom to feel his best and to feel empowered. If he doesn't wear a tie every day, there's no reason for him to wear a tie on his wedding day. Just be yourself, but look your best in clothes that fit.
And see, it's really funny because I'm the top button open type of guy. I don't like ties because my neck. It's always driven me crazy.
You're not alone.
Yeah, and so I have 2 buttons open. I've always done that. That's just how my life is.
Sounds like we need to add some nice contrasting fabric so we make you pop.
It's gonna make me pop. All right, let's see.
It's gonna happen.
All right, so before we get too much into this, because I could talk all day. Where did this all start for you? I know we talked about this before coming on the show, but what a bizarre journey. And I love how it comes full circle. So you got to tell everyone.
Yeah. So I went to school, and in undergrad, I studied costume construction and design, which means that I understand how clothing is made. So in undergrad, I had to sew a suit jacket and a pair of pants and do fittings for hundreds of people in one day. And, you can imagine my parents were just so thrilled with me studying design at school, but they fortunately were really supportive and tried to withhold their doubts. But I quickly and easily got a job working for the Manhattan Opera Company, and I was a stitcher for them. So I was never more miserable in my whole life than when I got my dream job.
Really?
So I had no control over what thread I used, what stitch I used, how quickly I was supposed to go through the garments. And I was working 60 hours a week. It was basically like working in a factory. There was no creativity at all. And I was really in love with my then boyfriend, who I married. So it's a happy ending to my story. But I ended up working as a teacher. We decided to kind of be with each other rather than working our jobs in theater. And we had some kids. 15 years after teaching, I wasn't seeing my kids anymore. And I ended up turning back to my roots and getting back into design. My husband's been wearing Hilburn, which is men's custom clothing, for about 8 years. And the stylist he was working with has been begging me to join our team. And I couldn't keep saying no anymore. And it's honestly, I feel like I'm finally in the job and in the position that allows me to be creative, to put my kids first, but also have fun and empower people.
Yeah.
It's really wild seeing guys in clothes that finally fit them.
Yeah, and there's nothing like that too. I feel like when you have a good suit, when you have good clothes that make you look good, and that's the funniest thing, I think, so my mother has been a CFO of a small manufacturing company for the longest time. And she dresses in a very well-mannered way. I don't know if that's
conservative.
Well, yes, but she knows how to make a statement. Like she always has looked good. And again, like my father has played the role, he looks good, but he's blue collar. Like he knows, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that type of encouragement to look good, dress your best, kind of dress for the job that you want, that type of concept. I say this to my girlfriend a lot. I'm like, you may pay more for clothes, but not only do they last longer, they fit better, you look better, you feel better, you want to go and attack the world. You don't want to sit at home. You want to actually go and really see what you're made of. And I think that's what I try to encourage and tell people about, and I don't think that's been relayed to this younger generation of men. And that's something that I wish they understood.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because there's also a cohort of younger guys who do feel empowered and love getting creative and wearing clothes that actually fit them, but they don't know how to play with color. And they're not sure what the best thing for them is. So working with a stylist, that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a great time for us to kind of cut it off for this segment. We're going to come right back and we're going to start talking about what that means, because I don't even know I don't know what color it is. I don't know how to look for the right fit, right? There's so much to it. And so when we come right back here on Wonderful World of Weddings, we're going to go ahead and chat right through that. I do want to let everyone know before we jump off that this show is brought to you by New England Wedding Expo. You can get your tickets today. They are now on sale, and you can use a promo code to get them free. So check it out on newenglandweddingexpo.com, and we will see you back here in just a few seconds, guys. Thanks. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. We are here, and remember, we are sponsored by the New England Wedding Expo. Go to the newenglandweddingexpo.com today to book your tickets. They are free for the first 150 guests, and you can also, we have a few booths left. We are running out very quickly, so if you're a vendor listening in, make sure to jump over there. But in the meantime, we're going to talk to Kate Tobiasson, because we are having a great conversation about men for once and about how you need to look good. Yeah, you do. So listen up.
I think there's a perception out there that guys should be this accessory and that you can rent a tux.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you can rent a guy. That's where my mind goes.
I think those are only in Hallmark movies.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that that's not a thing. I'm sure the girlfriend would like to rent a different one from me. I
don't know. I know the writer of a lot of the Hallmark movies, so maybe we're onto something.
We'll
there.
have to ask.
No. So I think there's a perception that guys should just rent the tux and the girls buy the dress. And so they're the ones that make a lot of the decisions. And I was saying earlier that my husband rented his tux. Yes. And sadly now when I look at his pictures, I realize what a slob he looks like. So I'm happy to say that now that he's wearing custom clothing, he looks much better. And when I go to weddings where guys are wearing suits that fit them, everything is different. And oftentimes, I recently went to a wedding. It was beautiful. It was at the Woodstock Inn. Have you been to a wedding there? Yes. They do such an amazing job. And they took the time to outfit the whole bridal party and the father of the groom and the father of the bride with custom suits. It was amazing. And people were commenting on the look of the bridal party. And I don't think they knew what they were commenting on and why they liked the stuff. But as a stylist, I was like, oh, it's because everything fits.
Well, and you bring up such a good point. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's just something where we see this a lot in the wedding industry. You only do it once, okay? And you're not in the world a lot. So you don't understand what you like or don't like. What you tend to understand is just what you don't like sometimes, but you can't explain why. I was telling you the story. I have this wonderful stylist at Nordstrom who loves me, and I absolutely adore this woman. And she said to me, I
feel like we're on a date right now and you're talking about another woman.
I'm sorry, but she stole my heart first. She had it first.
Okay.
You can win it over. It's fine. So anyways, though, I'm there, and she said to me, don't rent it. And I said, why? And she goes, because I can build you a custom tux. She's like, we'll buy it from Boss. We actually that's where I got it.
So I'm going to stop you. So those aren't custom suits. Thanks for letting me step on you.
Oh, okay. Nice. Sounds great.
Yeah. So those are customized suits. Nordstrom does a wonderful job, and so does Boss, of what they do is they take a suit. It's an off the rack suit.
Yep.
And then they tailor it down to you.
Yes. And she even did the little liner too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can have little things that you can switch out. A truly custom suit which I do with J. Hilburn, is the fabric is sitting in the factory, and I can tell you right now what's in stock, what's not in stock. So before you fall in love with that really nice olive twill, don't worry. I can tell you if you can have it today, you know. So it's sitting on a roll in the factory, and then you choose the buttons, you choose the thread, you choose the button stance, you choose everything, whether it's a tuxedo, a suit, a vest, or a shirt. And that's a lot different.
Well, I will tell you though, I was happy she steered me away. It was like, I'm starting to learn, you know, we went down
well, there's good, better, best.
I was going to say exactly. So I went to good.
Yep.
So I didn't look like trash. I looked pretty good. But what I will tell you is, since it was tailored to me, the difference it made because of my build was huge. I felt good in it. I felt like I could move around, because what tends to happen, I have broad shoulders and I have a very small torso. And so I go into a store like Express, right? Or I used to. And these suits are made for little guys. They're for very, very skinny guys that are not athletically built. And I go in there and it looks good, but I can't move. And it's so tight. And I'm like, okay, well, the suit's nice. It's a good price, but I can't move in this thing. It's worth the extra money to get it tailored now, to get it customized. But I'm sure it's even more incredible to have a custom suit.
Yeah. And honestly, at the end of the day, the price difference is pretty negligible.
Really?
So my husband has some suits that we've had customized. And at the end of the day, it cost about 10 to 20% more to have it custom made. And then the custom made suits, the ones that were cut from the fabric for him, end up lasting longer. So because they haven't been let out or let back in or changed, the integrity of the fabric hasn't been compromised that many times. So, you know, we've been together. He's been wearing the same suits for 8 years. So his body has changed a little. He's put on some weight. So I was able to let out the pants and even the jacket, frankly, and tailor it to his new evolving size. And you can't tell because it hadn't already been done to the fabric. So there's more room, and it just long term, these are garments that are going to stay with you for a long time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Well, you know, I never thought about that too. When you're manipulating any type of material that many times, even when it just comes off the rack, they made it one way and now it's being made another. Okay. Well, I mean, that, you know, that's a great point. And that's kind of it's funny because I was going to ask what are the common mistakes that grooms make. And I think one of them must be the difference between a customized suit and a custom suit.
Definitely. I also think there's just a perception that you're just an accessory, and guys can have a say and you can have an opinion. I think another misconception, and we were talking earlier, I don't think you need to wear a tie. I don't think you need to wear a bow tie.
This is a big one for me. Yeah. Really? Okay.
I think you show your personality and be comfortable with who you are.
Will I look too business though? That's like one of my fears, because she thinks I look business. I dress business constantly.
Sure.
And that's my look.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think if you're comfortable with that and it's your day, then that's what you should have. But
fair enough.
But she does get the overriding vote. So I always say the groom gets one vote and she gets two. But I'm here to be a tiebreaker if needed.
Yeah.
So
throw a little bit of weight in there.
I mean, I'm here to back you guys up at the end of the day, and help guide you and make sure that you're not making a decision and investing in a garment that you're not going to be able to use long term, because that's really important to me. If you're going to spend the money on a suit, it needs to fit you well enough that you're going to continue to wear it, but it should also be something that you can integrate into your wardrobe and not just a one and done.
Well, and so that to me is another huge mistake, thinking that a suit can just be for your wedding day. As far as I can tell from everything we've talked about, absolutely not.
No, never.
And I love the jeans. I don't think we talked, I think that we were talking about that off air, but you were saying using a blazer with some really nice designer jeans. I love that concept.
Yeah. So I get guys in custom jeans, and they're honestly much more affordable than the jeans that you're buying at Nordstrom's with your stylist. I can promise. And they're custom made for you.
They're soft. Can you match the softness?
I can do better.
Oh, nice. All right, let's do this.
So, but they're custom made for you. So they're going to stretch and they're going to wear better. And wearing those custom jeans with the shirt and the sports coat from your wedding is amazing. And I also think I've met so many guys, and I don't know where this idea came from, that you can't separate the suit pants from the suit jacket. Not true at all. So wearing the suit pants with a really nice knit, maybe a 3/4 that you already own, that's great and easy.
I do that all the time.
Right?
I love that. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And it just looks really sharp. But one thing that I love to do for the grooms and for the brides is to, instead of doing lots of guys on custom clothing, will put their initials on the wrists or somewhere else on the shirt. And instead what I do is do a heart. So I'll do her 2 initials, a heart, and then his 2 initials on the shirt. And then when you wear the shirt, it's subtle, right? It doesn't have to be a big, bright, bold color that's standing out. But then every time you wear the shirt, you know that you're wearing your wedding shirt and you can think back on the special day. But it's really something that's just kind of like a note to yourself about how much you love your wife.
Wow. All right.
I like romance.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think that makes 2 of us. I've been in the wedding industry a little bit here.
Fair enough.
Which is always the joke because me. Actually, though, I do want to bring it back to body styles real quick because I think this is really fascinating. And I think a lot of people are starting to understand that, well, especially with custom made, you can really tailor something to any body style and it's going to make you look good, really not no matter what, but really going to fit you properly so you look sharp. And I think there's a big difference there, you know?
Yeah. So when we talk about custom clothing versus customized clothing, and I'm not tailoring it down, I'm actually cutting it and making it for you.
Right.
The look on the guy is so different. So when we get back, I'd love to share my story about the guy who was the hardest to fit.
Oh, yeah. Well, and just remember, guys, you don't have to be a Ken doll to look good. I think that's the biggest thing.
100%.
Exactly. So we're going to be right back here with Kate Tobiasson in just a few seconds, guys. So join us. And just remember, go to newenglandweddingexpo.com to get your tickets today. And for vendors, sign up for your booth before they're all sold out. We'll see you in just a few. Thanks.
Every step, writing stories that seek to be read, taking hold of the moment as we discover every color filled with wonder. Now we finally see we got everything we need. Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian, and I am here with Kate Tobiasson, and we were in the middle of just to get started with a great story, but in the middle of a great conversation. And so I really was talking about how to customize for every body style or body type, because just because your body type might not fit the standard suit or the standard tux doesn't mean that you can't look sharp. I think that's something that's such a misconception.
Yeah.
If you don't look like a Ken doll, that you're not going to look sharp. And that's such a lie, especially nowadays.
I think there's not that many Ken dolls living in America.
No, I like to fancy myself a Ken doll, but I know I'm not one.
Well, he might have a little bit on your hairline.
Yes, he does. Yes, that's for sure.
But I'm going to leave that one on the table. But I think that in general, when we think about people, everybody has a different body type. Everybody also has a different style. And your clothes should flatter your style, your aesthetic, your day, but most importantly, your body type. And when you wear clothes that fit, we were saying earlier, it just feels so different. One of my favorite clients is Andy. So I met him. I was, I think, like 9 months pregnant at the gym. I was crazy. I was there 3 days before I went into labor. And because that's how I roll.
I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Fair.
So Andy was at the gym working out with me, and it's been a number of years now, but so far he's lost 125 pounds. And when you lose that much weight, your body just kind of looks and feels different.
Yeah.
And he's 6'10". So when I went to his...
That's a big boy.
He's really tall, like taller than your average American, and even taller than most of the people that my company's been around for a number of years and has literally made, hundreds of thousands of suits. And they hadn't done a guy that was 6'10" before. So I had to climb up on a stool to measure him. And
that's fantastic.
But the look on his face when he was wearing a suit that fit him for the first time, but even better was the look on his wife's face when he was wearing the suit. And she is my height. She's 5'4", and I have a picture of the two of them standing together. And it really kind of highlights his height, but also just the look on his face when he's wearing, it's just a black suit but it's a beautiful like wine colored shirt with fun accents because Andy's one of the nicest guys that I know.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of him for finding such a great way to celebrate his journey in his weight loss.
Yeah.
So now he's got some nice suits for when he goes out on interviews.
Very nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it really does. It changes everything. I mean, especially when you work that hard too, you want to see it. You work that hard in the gym and incrementally to not only feel good, but to show, kind of what you've done, what you've accomplished. And I think if you accomplish this great body, let's say, in these great habits really are what they are, you need the clothes to accustom it.
Yeah. But I also have a lot of young grooms, frankly, right? So guys who are in fantastic shape, but maybe they're hockey players. So they've got really nice, like big legs, because that's what they're used to doing is like spending hours on the ice skating. Yeah. Those are guys who are used to feeling the seam of their pants split. And that isn't a great feeling when you're on your wedding day. Your pants shouldn't feel tight and you shouldn't be worried about what moves you can bust out on the dance floor.
I had that one time.
No.
Oh yeah. I was taking photos and I had this groom just go down to dip his wife and everyone heard, and we were like, and he just grabbed his backside and started walking off. He was like, "You didn't get that photo, did you?" I was like, "Oh, I absolutely did." And his wife's like, "Yes."
So I'm sure that is one to remember, but maybe not the way that he wanted people to. And that happens to guys that are in great shape. Yeah. So whether
big butts.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Just experience. It's sad, but yes, a lot of ripped pants.
Yeah, but or the guy that is ripped and super fit. I think he should have a coat that flatters all of his hard work too. So when we talk about wearing tuxes and wearing clothes, I can make sure that everything is like fitting you perfectly, and that makes all the difference in the world. But when you go to your average store, there's only so many sizes, right? Yep. And different brands have different fits and things like that. But working with the stylist to make sure that you look your best is really going to change the way that you feel about your day and hopefully get you laughing for the right reasons.
Right. And so we're really talking head to toe here too, right? And so we're trying to match colors, textures, things of that nature from head to toe. That's a very important piece of this, correct?
Well, I think it should go for the whole wedding. So I love working with a photograph or a painting that really speaks to the couple. So I'm a visual person as a designer. Sure. And when you have an image, whether it's a postcard or like maybe some beautiful view of the city where you went on a great date, have that be what brings the whole design of the whole wedding together. So whether it's the flowers or the place sittings or whatever else, bring it together and have it speak to that moment. And then certainly the bridesmaid dresses and then the groom too. I also had a couple recently, she was doing beautiful different colors of green and she wanted green for her groom. She's like, "Oh, we can't find a green suit. Can you make us one?" I said, "Well, sure, but why would you want your groom to wear the same color as your girls?" It just doesn't make sense. He needs to stand out and he needs to be special. So instead we work together to tie green in. So we can do different things like put plackets in. Do you know what plackets are?
I'm assuming that's the inside liner. Am I wrong on that?
You're totally wrong.
Okay, all right, give it to me. What is it?
So plackets is where when you're wearing an Oxford shirt, it's where the buttons meet. So there's an overlap of the fabric, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I can put it on one side, I can put it on both sides, and we can do plaids. I've got a million different prints, solids, light colors, dark colors. You can put it on the inside of your collar, and you can put it on the inside of your cuffs too. And then
I love shirts like that.
Right? Yeah. And they look really custom and really fun, but people wear them to restaurants right here in town. And it's nice because it ties the wedding together and brings that look together. And then we can also add pops of color of thread, whether it's the buttonholes on the jacket or the boutonniere or the stitching on the pants. And adding those little details that really connect to that image, that connect to the aesthetic together, creating more of a cohesive picture and really a painting for your day. Like I'm getting kind of like designy and cheesy here, so stay with me. But as a designer, it's breathtaking when you see a real stylized wedding put together. It just looks different.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I think the photos, and we were talking about this earlier too,
Yeah.
where I don't think people know what they actually enjoy from that photo, or they, right? But they
Yeah.
see it and they go, I like that.
Right.
Why do I like that so much? Why does that look so right? You know, it's like, oh, because it was done properly. Like these things were thought of.
Yeah. And on my meetings with couples, I often bring pictures of grooms who are wearing rented clothing, and you can see the shirts puckering and that the buttons don't match between the shirts, which is something that happens a lot if you're dealing with some of the bigger companies. Sometimes like one guy will have a black button and everybody else has white buttons. Well, he's not the groom. And what's your eye going to go to when you look across the picture?
Right.
You're going to see the
Right.
black buttons.
Right.
But let's do that on purpose and make
Right.
that a reason why you stand out.
Yeah.
And there's so many fun ways to play when we're customizing a look from top to bottom.
And so to kind of wrap this section up, I really want to talk about what are the trends. Do you see any trends changing currently?
There's so many fun things happening with design right now, whether it's tuxedos with super bright colors, or again, just that, like, you don't need a tie, you don't need to have a bow tie,
Right.
just do you. But I think my favorite look is inspired by what happens to be my favorite television show, which is Yellowstone.
Oh my God, my parents just started watching this too. They love it.
If you haven't watched
Oh,
it,
you showed me this, the black on black.
yeah, but listen, first of all, you have to watch Yellowstone if you haven't watched it. Kevin Costner is 70 something years old and he's still got it. I'm telling you right now. But he is not the guy that stole my heart in the show. It's actually Rip, who is definitely not a Ken doll. He is a meat and potatoes guy, and he wears all black. And I've seen this look really come out through all fashion, frankly, because they're such an iconic couple. Rip is dedicated and loyal to Beth, his wife on the show. Like, regardless of what happens, he's there for Beth. And I think a little bit of that romance, adding that into a guy's look, it's kind of seeped into the wedding world, and it's been so fun for me to see. So wearing black on black, it's really hot, and it looks great on most body types and most sizes. And there's all different kinds of black too, right? So when we can play with different undertones to make sure whatever your coloring is, that it pops on you. And that's a really fun way to certainly have the groom be a complement to what's happening, but also kind of shine on his own.
It also has a little bit of a rugged look to it too, which I think is a little in style right now. The bad boy look, I think, is coming back a hair.
Well, that's Rip. You got to watch this show.
Well, we've had the Ken doll look for quite some time now.
Over it.
Yeah. We had the Playboy look, which I feel like was
Over it.
Well, Sophie would disagree with you. She,
All right.
no, there's actually one character that one actor that her and I go back and forth on, but we will talk about that when we get right back here. We're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll see you right back here on the Wonderful World of Weddings. And in the meantime, please note the show is sponsored by the New England Wedding Expo. So go to newenglandweddingexpo.com right now on April 16th. We will be there with Be Remembered, and we'll see you soon. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Wonderful World of Weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian. I am your host today. And before we get right back to the show, I just wanted to say to go to newenglandweddingexpos.com. I'm going to keep saying it just so you know, because it's free right now. For any guest who wants to attend, it is free for the first 150 guests. We have a few vendor booths left, but we have a bunch of great vendors. So jump on there right now, get your free tickets before they are all sold out. But we are back to the show, and we're talking to Kate Tobiasson, and we're talking all about men today and how to look good for your wedding day, because you have a responsibility, guys. You can't just roll out of bed. All right.
Yeah, no, it's not going to go the way that you think.
No, not at all. And when they look back at that photo and say, what's off about that? It's you.
Hopefully not. So hopefully we're going to be able to give some great tips and some tricks about how to actually look your best.
Yeah. And I think since, usually in this segment, we share a lot of stories, but you're not a vendor on site most of the time. You're the leading up. And so it's so different for you. But at the same time, I think the tips and tricks are so much more important, because I got to be honest, I don't think men have a clue. And you know, like,
It's true.
you know, so we want to help. We're going to be bringing some more videos to you guys about what to do, because if I have to tie another tie, so help me God. But regardless, tips and tricks, give them to me.
Yeah. So I think some of the interesting questions that guys have brought up in the past is, when do we even start talking about the tux? Because
That's a great one.
right?
Jeez.
So in the
Yeah.
wedding book guide, it comes in a different place anytime you check a website, because I think historically guys have been an afterthought. And
There's also another fun part too, though.
okay, I'm
Do you know who writes the blogs?
women,
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know why?
because they're the ones that read them.
You're getting it.
It's not my first rodeo. But so the women, when they're planning, because it is usually the brides, the bride nudges the groom to reach out to me, if we're going to be honest,
Yep.
about the chain of events, right? So he's been nudged to reach out to me and says like, hey, when do we need to start talking? And say, well, like, when is your wedding? And they'll say, it's in September and this is January. So I'll say, okay, well, like, let's go ahead and pick out the colors and do the fun stuff while you're in this planning phase. And if you're ready to start talking, I'm ready to dive in and have fun. And we can go through and do the measurements now, but the reality is your body's going to change.
Yeah.
Right. And if we need to make any final tweaks, because sometimes when we make a garment, it doesn't come back exactly perfect. So they're made by real people when we talk about truly custom made, right?
Yep.
So it's not made by a machine, it's made by a person. So there's a 1/4 inch or so that could be off and when they cut it, and then a 1/4 inch or so that could be off when they sew it. Does it happen often? No, but it does happen, right?
Yep.
So I want to be able to make sure that I can tweak things and resend them back if I need to. And all of that's included in the price when you shop with J. Hilburn. So again, I would say, like, let's talk when you're ready to talk, whenever that is in the fun, but about 3 months out is when we should be doing our final measurement. And then I'll send the stuff off to the factory.
Okay. That's a good point, you know, and I think I was surprised too with even the customized tux. You know, it takes some time to turn that around.
So I'd actually say a customized tux might take a little bit longer, because
Yeah.
it's going to take more tries when we talk about trying to reshape it and recut it with the integrity of the fabric. And I have helped guys with that. I think Nordstrom puts out some nice products,
Yeah.
and there's some different ways that we can tweak those. But at the end of the day, planning ahead and not trying to go like the 6 weeks just to hit the rental store. I think that's a different experience and a different look.
No, absolutely. Okay. So 3 months, you know, is really kind of like the do or die time in a way. I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
Sooner the better, obviously.
I think so, but I also think it can be fun.
Right.
And it should be playful. I meet most of my clients at happy hour. So I'm happy to come to your house or to your workplace, and we can do it over coffee or at the end of your workday. But I think everything is more fun with a cocktail, or I really love soda water with lime. Really know how to party. So,
Well, you give me a good coffee, we'll be all set.
all right. No, it's I think, but having that atmosphere and that feeling of fun when we talk about wedding stuff, like this shouldn't be stressful.
Right. No, absolutely. All right. So I think the timing is a great topic, because no one's going to tell these poor men when to do it.
I'm here to help.
Yeah, we are here to help. But I guess what's next? Like, after we go and we have a talk with you, and we say, hey, maybe these are our colors. My bride picked them out. This is something that we really enjoy, and this is what we're trying to match for an aesthetic. Is that where you're taking a cue from?
Yeah, and what I do is I've got boxes of fabrics, and we can go through online, and you can kind of cull through a few, and then I pull them out so you can touch them, you can feel them, and then we pair them with the other colors. And as I said before, I'm a visual person, so I like to lay them out with the other fabric swatches. And if she has a fabric swatch of her dress, sometimes we'll add that in there too, just so that way we can see how the different textures are playing. Because when we talk about those close-up pictures and photographs, I'm a sucker for a really like nice enlarged digital image. So those are really, really fun. But I also want to make sure that the guy knows how to put on his clothing. So it sounds so silly, but if you don't know how to tie a tie, some guys, if you have a little bit of a belly, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And they have these things, they're called shirt stays. And if you're in the military, you know what they are, and you probably loathe them because they snap, and they have a way of coming up and snapping just the wrong places.
That's no fun.
So don't worry. I'll help you figure out how to put them on. And what they do is they pull your shirt down. So your shirt doesn't get untucked while you're dancing, and it doesn't end up having this like weird fold over thing. And I'm sure you've seen a million photographs of guys at the end of the wedding who look kind of sloppy. And there's different ways that we can dress to make sure that that doesn't happen and that you continue to look sharp throughout the whole event. And when we talk about those shirts too, like where do you unbutton it? And when do you button your coat and when do you unbutton your coat?
I have to teach guys that all the time.
Never button both buttons.
No. Top button, gentlemen. Top button. You know?
It looks so much sharper. And I think some guys can be kind of like, well, what's the point of having the other button there? Well, like, I understand. I hear what you're saying, but what we're going to do here is go with fashion. And this is a picture and this is the time just to kind of sit in the back seat and let somebody else drive.
Right. Yeah. And you know, the other thing too is knowing what type of tie, you know, what type of knot actually looks good on
double Windsor.
Yeah. But I will tell you, some guys, you know, when it's a skinny tie and, and they're very,
I do like a good skinny tie.
And they are skinny guys.
Yes. All right.
You know, you need a different knot sometimes. And they don't even know what I'm talking about when I say there's a different knot. They're like, well, there's different ways to tie a tie. I'm like,
I see some content in development here.
Oh, yes.
And I do love a skinny tie on a slender guy.
Exactly. Yep.
I think those are fun. And bow ties too. There's such a difference between a clip-on bow tie and a bow tie that's tied. And so if you are going to go in that super formal direction, being comfortable with it, but then also what are you going to do as the night progresses? So let's take a look, and I want you to see pictures of yourself and see how you look.
Yeah.
And for me to take a couple of pictures on my phone and snap them to you and snap them to your bride and have you guys think about how the look is going to progress through the night. That's really important.
Well, I think it's so funny too, because for a guy, and I know a lot of guys, they're nervous. They're very nervous. They don't want to show up, but they are. And they always are so focused on, I just got to get up to that ceremony. And then like my day is done. In their mind, my day is done.
Sure.
Right. But it's not, because you still have that first dance. You still have so many moments that are going to be caught on that camera that, you know, you need to look beautiful for.
Yeah, I always think of it as kind of like putting on a show, right? So my background is in costume design. And
I was going to say,
theater.
how fitting.
I know.
No pun intended.
Well, maybe
Actually,
it was.
Pun intended.
I do love a good pun. So as we're stitching the night together, we want to make sure that that your look fits and is happy throughout the whole ending of the show. I also want to talk to guys about shoes. So having those patent leather shoes that people rent with their tuxes look like trash in pictures because they get scuffed really easily. And I hope that you have fun and hang out and like get out on the dance floor. I love to dance. But those shoes scuff up and they're not comfortable and you don't feel like yourself in them. So having shoes that are, the brides know this, like wear your shoes for a few days beforehand, but make sure that they're of a material that can be buffed out if something happens. Spoiler, if it's for your wedding, it's going to happen. You're going to get a scuff on there. But there's so many different fun shoes. And again, we don't have to be super formal with this. So wear a Chelsea boot if that's who you are. Or I forget, I was looking at some really casual, like super Danish, European looking ones that a guy was picking out. They're getting married at the top of a mountain. And I was like, okay, like it's not a hiking boot, but like I see what you're doing there. Like you're just kind of being yourself and having a shoe that looks great. I think is so underrated. Yeah. Because what's the thing?
I would have never thought of the Chelsea boot. That's actually a great one too.
It comes up higher too, right? So it ties the look together. And the thing that people notice the most about other people when they're dressed is their shoes. So again, when we talk about having items that we buy for weddings, so you buy these shoes, you're not going to wear them just one time. Right. You're going to wear them out with, you know, hopefully to work, or if you're going out on a date, you can wear them with your nice customized jeans.
With your wife.
With your wife. At happy hour. Then, you know, you like look and feel differently, but that's something that people notice. So investing a couple of bucks up front, this is a great time to invest in the wardrobe that you're going to be wearing for hopefully years and years to come.
I think that's a great way to end the show. So thank you so much. How do they find you though? That's the big thing.
Oh, great question. So feel free to send me an email. I'm Kathleen, KATHLEEN .Tobiasson, TOBIASSON @gmail.com. I've also got a website that we can link if we want to. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Kate Tobiasson.
Wonderful. All right, everyone, reach out. Men, especially you. Stop thinking you need to be a Ken doll. Call Kate. She'll take care of you. And we hope you enjoyed this show on the wonderful world of weddings. My name is Daniel Krikorian, and we hope that if you have any questions or want to hear from someone else or have any questions for Kate, email us at info@berememberedweddings.com or go to the website at berememberedweddings.com/podcast, where you can actually send us an inquiry anytime. We hope to hear from you soon, and we really thank you for joining us today on the wonderful world of weddings. Thanks, guys.